What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having a great Monday. I know I am. There's lots of news, so that's always nice and give me an opportunity to hang out with you 5 to 6 times a day. If you're here and you just happen to check the channel and you're not yet subscribed, please do consider clicking that red subscribe button down below the video. I know it's a pain and you may have to create an account, but I do promise you that it's worth it. It'll make finding my videos easier, and it'll help keep my channel out of the doldrums of YouTube shadow banning. Now, if you've been following the story with Joe Rogan and these 270 doctors that called him out, what if I told you that a vast majority of those doctors aren't even medical doctors? What if I told you that Spotify has decided not to enact any kind of censorship and stood by him? That'd be a good thing, right? Maybe you'd want to celebrate by getting a new PC. Check out Meta PCs. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Meta PCs. Now, I know you're not going to run out and quick buy a brand new computer just because I ran this ad, but what I would hope is that you'll keep Meta PCs in mind for a variety of reasons and use my promo code, TheQuartering, to save big at checkout. Look, Meta PCs offers custom configurations. It has insane parts availability. They're one of the few people I see out there with the brand new NVIDIA 3090 in stock and shipping. When you buy from them, they offer you build photos as they work along. When you receive your PC, it's ready to go out of the box. It's 100% US-based sales and support. And one of my favorite things, it's a veteran-owned business. Meta PCs is veteran-owned. One of Meta's owners has served in Afghanistan and Iraq and received a Purple Heart for his service. Meta also employs military veterans in the Meta Operations Center and also provides systems to veterans going back to school to help them re-enter the workforce all across the United States. Meta PCs also offers financing. Head on over to MetaPC at metapcs.com. Use code TheQuartering at checkout to save money and support my content. If nothing else, go configure a PC, build a little wish list, and when you're ready, remember to use code TheQuartering at checkout at MetaPCs. I know I'll be getting myself a brand new one before the... Now, first we have Luke Rudkowski sharing LOL. So about those 300, quote, doctors crying about Joe Rogan. Now, they are doctors. They have doctorals, right? Like if I, like a year ago, I was going to get my doctorate because I thought maybe I already have my master's degree. I was thinking about getting my doctorate in case I wanted to go back and teach some marketing or something like that in the future. It was 2 more years and I still may do it. But that doesn't make me a medical professional. How about Cole Cratton, Director of Research at Grasshopper Farms, which is apparently a herb place. Postdoctoral fellow at the University of Queensland. So you don't work in medicine. Dentist. Professor. Analytical scientist. Consultant. Writer, researcher, right? Now, there are obviously medical doctors on there. You see this. 270 doctors called out Joe Rogan, but the authors of the letter and the vast majority of its signatories are not medical doctors. Shocking. Are you shocked? Twitter even got in on it and against Joe Rogan, adding the, quote, medical experts letter to their curated headlines section. Well, I reviewed the open letter, and while it turns out that only 100 of the 270 signatories to the letter are people with qualified medical degrees, and a large chunk of the 100 or so medical doctors are MDs employed at universities who are not, in fact, practitioners of medicine. Yet part of the letter reads, as physicians, we bear the arduous weight of the couth that have stretched our medical systems to their limits. The letter denouncing Joe and pressuring Spotify to censor his speech has all kinds of random signatories. By my count, the letter is signed by over 50 PhD academics, 60 college professors, 29 nurses, 10 students, 4 medical residents, and even a handful of science podcasters. The letter, which uses the word misinformation 9 times as 5 paragraphs, concludes with a call for Spotify to censor Rogan as part of the policy to moderate misinformation on the policy. Notably, there was no information on who or what group was behind the creation of the circulation of this quote-unquote open letter. Nice research. Who wrote this? Jordan Schachel. Oopsie. Oopsie doopsie poopsie. And you have this. Spotify mum after Joe Rogan critics call for change to prevent misinformation on the platform. Spotify has not publicly addressed calls for any kind of change after liberal media outlets and a group of, quote, medical professionals urged the streaming platform to take action against Joe Rogan. Last week, a group of advocates, professors, scientists, and medical professionals signed an open letter. We all know about how that happened. The open letter blasted Rogan for pushing misleading and false claims on his podcast, provoking distrust in science and medicine. During the ongoing lockdowns and everything else, with an estimated 11 listeners per episode, JRE is the world's largest podcast and has tremendous influence. What they're really trying to do to Joe is they're trying to Alex Jones him. Don't you think? They really, really, really want / need him to get in line. They really, really need that, don't they? Rogan, whose wildly successful show is exclusive on Spotify, has become the target of liberal media over the course of the lockdowns. The Daily Beast recently enlisted far-left advocate to declare Joe Rogan was mainstreaming right-wing information, while former MSNBC lunatic, in my opinion, Keith Olbermann last week called him the stupidest effing guy on the planet. CNN invited one of the healthcare professionals who signed the letter to amplify it on the network's struggling morning show New Day, where co-host Breonna Keller mocked Rogan for moving the goalposts after he was fact-checked in real time by a recent guest. Except it's backfired. Joe Rogan trends after Spotify ignores protests to remove his podcast. In the letter, the medical professionals are asking Spotify to establish a clear and public policy to moderate misinformation on the platform. But what they really mean, and you know this, I know this, what they really mean is to censor Joe Rogan. Right? They don't want a policy. It's like, oh, what is the policy going to say? We don't like misinformation in parentheses or in quotations. But we're going to, on the fly, define what misinformation is. I mean, we've seen a lot of information that even the CDC has changed, you know, in regards to like masks, for example. So what you call misinformation a week ago turns out to be right. Then what are you going to do? Go re-release the episode? We've seen this with thousands of YouTubers who are banned over this. On Saturday morning, podcast host and author Brett Weinstein tweeted, "We would be in very serious trouble right now without Joe Rogan and Spotify's courage. Let's make hashtag thanks Joe Rogan and hashtag thank you Spotify trend. Don't cut and paste and consider doing them in separate tweets. Let's let him know we appreciate them. He had to please retweet this and other tweets so it gets widely seen." Although it did start trending, one fan pointed out that if Joe Rogan is spreading information as fact without evidence, and he still calls it factual, that is lying, aka spreading misinformation. We're entitled to our opinions, but our own facts. Although it started trending, opponents decided to use the hashtag to mock Rogan supporters, leading to general confusion on whether or not the thank you was supposed to be authentic or sarcastic to those hopping on Twitter later in the day. Well, I mean, anybody who jumps on Twitter and doesn't kind of know where like the general mindset of it goes, I don't think I would be confused. You know, and I think, you know, ultimately you could still see the original, the original source of all of this. Now that we know exactly who these doctors were, the real question was, yes, I think that I think you can't outright claim that, yes, you have a doctorate. Okay. So I can't say it's untrue, but I in my opinion, it's very questionable and misleading to kind of refer to these people as medical experts and doctors. Like, you're being purposely misleading. It's like, oh, this person's just this guy works in a on a weed farm, which one of the people did. Like, this guy's on your list. Absolutely pathetic. And you even had Dana White come in and defend him. Dana White defends Joe Rogan after these doctors' pressure. Everybody pushes this. He writes, I don't want to get too political and start getting into all this stuff, but these particular treatments have been around for a long time. Now, all of a sudden, you can't dig them up to save your life. The doctors won't even give them to you. Even when I did it here in Vegas, when I had it right before Christmas, I made one phone call and I was able to get it done. And that's not some rich, famous guy stuff. Anybody could have called and got it back then. Now Rogan's been talking about it, and I went crazy talking about it. You can't get those things to save your life now, literally. It's disgusting, White added. It's one of the craziest things I've ever witnessed in my life. And we're not talking about these type of... None of this is experimental. This stuff's been around. The guy won a Nobel Peace Prize. Yahoo reporter Kevin Who Cares asked him, are you a doctor? Which drew laughs from the UFC boss. There you go. Here it comes. Because that's exactly what he's trying to do. Trying to, silence him, right? And he says, no, come on, dive right in. White replied, you want to know what's scary? You get some pain pills quicker than I can get any of these other things. He's not wrong about that. It's been an interesting conversation as people are starting to get more and more uncomfortable with and more confused on like who they're really supposed to be listening to. And it's really the fault of a lot of people that I don't have time to get into right now. I hope you enjoyed this video, though, and we'll talk to you again real soon.